Hey guys, it's your boy Java Monkey J. Today my friend and I are talking World of Warcraft Vanilla Legacy servers. This section was taken from our World of Warcraft tier discussion where we ranked each expansion in a tier list format and discussed our thoughts and opinions on the game. If you'd like to see that full video, it is linked below. However, I will be posting shortened videos, one for each expansion in the coming days. So subscribe so you don't miss it. I've been Java Monkey J. Peace. Do you want me to include War Within here? Do you want to speculate a little bit?
Yeah, we just don't have enough to speculate on War Within, really. Like, I think it's going to be Dragonflight 2. It's going to be exactly the same as Dragonflight with possibly better storytelling, and that's great. Like, I think that's Dragonflight's weakest point.
Yeah, I agree with that. Let's start with Vanilla Legacy servers. World of Warcraft Classic. Vanilla. Raw dog, where do you think it should go? What are you feeling?
So, personally, I put it in D, but I know that that's not really a fair thing. Objectively, I think a B.
Objectively a B. I would say objectively S. Completely objective.
Completely objective, really?
Completely objective. S tier. No. I only think that World of Warcraft Classic Vanilla WoW. Sorry, World of Warcraft, Classic Vanilla WoW gets S tier because of the effects it has had not only on gaming since 2004, but also gaming in 2019.
All this fucking sentimental nonsense.
Yes.
Yeah, go for it.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm a hard disagree. Disagree.
Okay.
Take Vanilla as its own. On its own, no external input, really. You can't think about the fact that TBC comes later. Just vanilla.
Yes.
That game was very good, but it has way too many flaws for S tier. There's no shot. You can't do it. You look at the talent tree designs, right? There were talent trees that made absolutely no fucking sense.
That's true. That we've been looking at them.
There were three viable classes in Endgame. That's not okay.
That's
like,
true.
You can't call it S tier. They just didn't have the formula yet. They had an idea. They had a vision, right? And that vision was fantastic. And the execution on a lot of the way that they did that was very good, right? They had so much content on launch. They had so much content in vanilla, right? The whole world was incredible. It was new. It was bigger than anything, right? Like, they did a lot of things right, but in terms of the nitty-gritty of MMO design, of game design in general, there are so many horrible mistakes. Just like blatant, like things that no one does anymore.
Yeah, well, and they've admitted to that too. They've said like, yeah, we made this mistake and we didn't even know if it was going to work out like that. It just kind of figured itself out. Yeah,
I mean, there certainly is like, that's the thing, and that's why like the Burning Crusade was so well received, is because it reworked all the talent trees, right? You took all of these talent trees that just didn't work, and almost every class and almost every spec is viable in some form in TBC. And that's because of how much they learned from vanilla and the mistakes that they made in vanilla specifically. You can't call it S. I could see an argument for A, but there's no shot it gets an S. It's just too flawed.
If it came out the gate perfect, which obviously it couldn't, then yeah, it could be S. But I mean, like, without like spoiling anything, could you see, is there an S anywhere on here?
I really don't think so. I think there's one that I could try to make an argument for, but even that one, I think there are flaws to it. I don't think I can make an argument for an S to any of them, because ultimately none of these games have been perfect.
Can you make an argument for anything above? Well, you're going to. That's not a question.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna put at least one argument in A. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that at least one of these belongs in A.
I think that you can't just solely count the systems and the way the game is made. I think you also have to take into account the impact it has on the world and gaming as a culture.
Some of these things haven't happened yet. And some of these things haven't had time to have an impact yet.
You're right. Actually, I don't know if you are. I think the only one that applies to that is Season of Discovery. None of these games have revolutionized the way that MMOs are designed quite like Classic has. Maybe Wrath. Maybe
Wrath
maybe
the Lich King
Kata.
certainly did. It defined the genre, and that's the genre that everyone else has been copying since, right? It's Wrath. Like, you go look at Final Fantasy XIV, they literally, the developer there, Yoshi P, explicitly said, yeah, guys, we copied Wrath of the Lich King because it was my favorite MMO. Like, he's directly quoted as saying that is his largest influence, and you can look at it in the way that they design. There's all kinds of different currencies that you're earning from doing your daily heroics that are the equivalent of badges, and you go buy your gear with your badges that you earned from doing your daily heroics, right? It's it's the Wrath of the Lich King itemization system. It's phenomenal. It defined the genre. It continued to define the genre for the entire rest of World of Warcraft's history. It's always been about doing your dailies to collect your badges to go buy your loot, right?
Yep.
Up until Legion, when they pivoted to Mythic Plus as the kind of repeatable loot factory that it became, right? But like up until then, it was badges. It was some form or variety of badges. So I think that if you're talking about legacy, I think that Wrath of the Lich King has a much better legacy than Classic does. Classic just started this whole train. Wrath is Classic perfected, or in some sense. I still disagree with that point.
But also, we came back. And I think while maybe, but I mean, like there's multi-tiers to this, because like we went back and we saw Wrath wasn't as good as we remember it being. It's not this like this pivotal, like insane, perfect version of WoW that everyone thought it was going to be.
Do
like,
you think the Classic was? Do you think the vanilla was?
No. I don't think it
so
was.
Again, this whole argument of using the legacy is biased towards one game because it came first. And that's why I say it should be excluded. The legacy shouldn't be relevant. Only take into account what happens during that.
But it didn't do it once. It did it twice, and then it did it again with hardcore. What do you mean? Hardcore is the most popular version of WoW right now. The most watched.
It's not.
The most. Yes, it is. It 100% is. It 100%
I guarantee you today, right now, the Race to World First is way more popular than hardcore.
Let's look it up.
It's not even close.
Let's look it up. Hold on.
Factor of 10.
If you're right, I'll secede. This is Twitch data. Makarov tournament happened, I think, like 2 weeks ago now at this point.
No,
right?
I mean today. Right now.
Yeah. We're gonna look. Let's look. 30 days. What day was Makarov tournament?
I mean, that's gotta be it, right?
And that's gotta be it. I will admit, regardless, it's close. It's fucking close, man. And this is the waves from OTK going all in on hardcore. Like, I could see it both ways. I'm willing to admit it's maybe not the most popular way, but it sure is. It is a strong version of the game.
It is a strong version of the game, but I don't think that you can count the legacy that Classic has and the legacy that it gives hardcore and the legacy that it gives Season of Discovery 3 times. You don't get to count that 3 times.
That's fair. That's fair. Then I'll count it once. And I think
I don't think legacy is relevant. What we're talking about is the active game. Are you gonna go play the non-seasonal vanilla realms right now? That's what I'm talking about. And you're not. Just because it has that history, just because it came and became something so much bigger, that so much bigger thing is better.
Okay, that's
you
fair.
don't get to give the so much bigger thing, the better thing that it became, credit.
That's fair.
To vanilla. I think it's B. I think that they did an incredibly good job of laying a foundation that founded an empire, right? This became something so much better than it was, right? But I fundamentally think that it is also the most flawed version of the game that has ever existed, and that's inherent.
That's fair.
Right? It came first. It has the most issues. Things like the debuff limit and the buff limit, right? You had to have weak auras in classic vanilla to remove buffs, to remove heal over time effects from your druid so that they wouldn't override your buff limit, right? That's horrible design. That is horrible design. Like, I get it, right? I get why people have the nostalgia for it. I get even the appeal beyond nostalgia of something that takes the journey and makes it important. Because that's definitely not what Wrath of the Lich King is. That's definitely not what Dragonflight is. That's definitely not what a lot of these things are, right? There is merit to that. But I don't think that that merit alone makes it the best game. I think that merit alone is what carries it to be. Even A. You could give it A. I'll give it to you. That it's fair.
I mean, you convinced me to go B with, are you going to go play it right now? And for me, that the answer to that is simply no. You're just simply not going to go play it right now. And I don't think that it has nearly the community that hardcore retail or Wrath has. Just straight up, I don't think it does. So I don't know. I think it deserves A. I think it probably maybe should go B, because you're right. I mean, you're right about what you're saying 100%. So where do we want to leave this? Because I mean, this is also our relative position.
Let's
right?
leave it bottom of A right now. Let's leave it bottom of A right now, and if we have our conversations as we go along and we want to scoot it around, I think that's fair.